One of the goals I set for myself last year was to learn and understand pigment information better, because over the years and as my collection of paints has grown, I've realized that some of my paints may visually look similar, but when I go to mix them with other colors or I go to apply them to my paper, they behave very differently. Some paints are transparent while others are opaque. Some paints are granulating and others are non-granulating. Some paints have a really high tinting strength and they are a very powerful pigment, while others that look similar to it get diluted out very quickly. All of those factors play into how your paints behave and interact with each other. Once I started trying to better understand pigment information, I quickly realized that I could easily recreate my own granulating mixes. So today I want to show you how to recreate Tundra Pink using paint you might already have. This is the sister pigment to Schmincke's Galaxy Violet because they use the same pigments just in different ratios. Some information about Tundra Pink: it is from Schmincke. It is one of their super granulating colors. It's semi-staining. It's a transparent color with good light fastness. And it is almost this red-violet color in mass tone, but when diluted out, you get these swirls of pink with just a touch of blue. Our first pigment is PR233, and this is a dusty rose color called Potter's Pink. I'm going to be testing out two versions of Potter's Pink because even though two tubes of paint can use the same exact pigment, they might look different depending on where they source the pigment, how finely milled it is, and if the manufacturer did anything to treat it. So my Daniel Smith Potter's Pink is a little bit more brown and more granulating, whereas my Maimeri blue one is slightly more rosy and more finely milled. Next up is our pigment PB29, or our ultramarine blue. Now there are two common types of ultramarine blue on the market. One is labeled French ultramarine, and then you just have a normal ultramarine blue. French ultramarine blue tends to lean a little bit more red and tends to be more granulating. I am going to be using Schmincke's French ultramarine blue, but for this swatch I'm going to show you how Daniel Smith's French ultramarine blue compares to the M Gran one. And you can see more granulation and more red undertones. But for the rest of these swatches, I'm going to be using the Schmincke one, which is just a tiny bit more granulating than the Daniel Smith swatch. I don't know why I got them mixed up in my head when I was doing the B-roll footage for this video, but I did. And now I am not home to refilm that. So we are just going to make do with what we have. Now I'm re-swatching Tundra Pink, and the reason why I'm swatching it onto a different kind of paper is because I wanted to have a better side-by-side comparison. Now while the other swatches of it are beautiful, it's not on the same type of paper I'm going to be swatching my mixes on, and the type of paper you're using can really affect the end result. So I'm just swatching it on this cotton rough press paper. I like to use rough press paper for these super granulating swatches because it shows off that granulation just a little bit more, so that we can see what's going on with the paints. So first up on our recreation, we're going to be using the Maimeri Blue Potter's Pink with the Schmincke French Ultramarine Blue. So the Schmincke French Ultramarine is slightly more red and it is more granulating. The Maimeri Blue one is less granulating than the Daniel Smith one, but slightly more rosy. So my prediction for this one is that it's going to be maybe a little bit more vibrant, because you already have a really red base blue, so it's really close to pink on the color wheel or red on the color wheel. And then our pink that we're using doesn't have as much brown in the undertones, so I think this one might give us a slightly more vibrant variation of the mix. Something that is really fun about learning how to recreate these colors on your own is that you can customize them to fit whatever you're painting a lot easier, because you can mix it yourself or you can understand the pigment information on a convenience mix you might already have and know how to amplify it in a more effective and efficient way. For example, if I wanted to use a limited color palette for a painting, but I was also going to be using a convenience mix, say something like Tundra Pink, I might choose to use ultramarine blue as my main mixing blue for that painting, because ultramarine blue is already showing up in the Tundra Pink. So there's going to be color harmony within that, and it's going to be mixing really nicely because I already know Tundra Pink and the ultramarine blue will blend really well together. So sometimes it just simplifies that process. So this is the swatch using the Potter's Pink from Maimeri Blue and the M Gram Ultramarine Blue. M-Gram Ultramarine is more finely milled, so it'll be interesting to see how the blue disperses in this mix and what kind of texture we're left with, because granulation texture can vary quite a bit. That's one of the fun things about doing these side-by-side comparisons, is you can see how much granulation texture can vary depending on brand and how they behave with each other. Because this mix is going to be using the Daniel Smith's Potter's Pink, which, remember, is a lot more granulating than the Maimeri blue one, and it's slightly more brown. And then we have the Schmincke French Ultramarine, which is a slightly more red blue, and it is a lot more granulating. So this one potentially could be the most granulating out of the mix. Now, sometimes granulation can be hard to predict because some of it can depend on how much water you're using and how much you're pushing that pigment around. The more you rub your brush on that paper and push that pigment around, the more you'll get that pigment separation and that granulation happening. So now we are swatching out our Daniel Smith's Potter's Pink and our M-Gram Ultramarine Blue. And the main granulating pigment in this one is going to be that Daniel Smith's Potter's Pink. It is so much more of a granulating color than the M-Gram Ultramarine Blue. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the end result. And this one could potentially be the most neutral in undertone, because our blue leans slightly more green than our French Ultramarine, and our Potter's Pink is slightly more brown. So this one could be the most muted out of that initial mix, but we'll just have to see what happens when we compare them side by side. While most artists have an ultramarine blue in their sets or their collections because it's such a popular color, a lot of them aren't going to have Potter's Pink. So I wanted to see if there was a suitable substitution for Potter's Pink. And when I was researching online and seeing other artists' creations, a lot of them were just trying to recreate the color in mass tone. They weren't trying to recreate the granulation. When I was researching granulating Potter's Pink substitutions, most of them were using a mixture of ultramarine blue, quinacridone rose, which is PV19, and then some kind of brown, like a burnt umber, or like a Geothite, which is like a yellow ochre based color. Now, these are granulating mixes, and they actually worked quite well for recreating this because I already was going to be using French ultramarine anyways. But the difference is that granulation texture, because our quinacridone rose is not a granulating pigment. It's not. And so the pigment is going to disperse very different with that rose color than it is in our Potter's Pink. And that's really going to affect the end result. Something you could try that I totally spaced on was testing this out using granulation medium. It might help get a little bit more granulation in with that PV19. Just keep in mind that it's going to give you a lot more uniform of a granulating texture than what you would get with naturally granulating pigments, because they all kind of have their own personalities. So just something to keep in mind. So now let's start comparing all the swatches now that they're dry. So on the left, I've got the Schmincke one that we were just using their mix, and then my mix is on the right. And this first one is using the Potter's Pink and the French Ultramarine. So a more rosy pink and a more red blue, and that blue is more granulating. And you can see mine is slightly more vibrant than Schmincke's, and I would say the granulation is a little bit more prominent. Now, I probably could have added a tiny bit more blue to my mix to get it a little closer, but I would say the granulation is a little bit more prominent on mine. So now let's compare the second mix using the Potter's Pink from Maimeri Blue. And this one was really interesting because that M-Gram Ultramarine Blue is less granulating and it's more finely milled. That blue dispersed a little bit more evenly and kind of stayed on the surface, while the Potter's Pink sunk into the nooks and the crannies and granulated on the paper. And so I feel like this one had a little bit more pigment separation, which then left you with more like color variation and more blue forward. It allowed that blue to stand out a little bit more. So this one ended up being quite a bit different than the original, but it is a really beautiful mix. And it's actually, in a lot of ways, I like it better than the original color because I like how that blue and that pink kind of separate out a little bit more. I tend to like my super granulating colors to have lots of color variation within them because I think it provides a lot of interest. So now we are checking out the Potter's Pink from Daniel Smith, and this is a more brown and granulating Potter's Pink than the Maimeri blue one. And I would say this version of that pigment PR233 got us the closest to what Schmincke had created in their mix. It's a little bit more neutralized because of that brown undertone, and I found that it gave us more of a similar effect, especially when I used a more traditional ultramarine blue like this M-gram one. Now, there might be slight variations just from mixing error because I wasn't using like a micro scale to weigh out how much of each pigment I was adding to my mix and how much water. So that can affect the end result. But when I'm looking at my swatches side by side, I would say the mix using the Daniel Smith's pink and the M-gram ultramarine blue got me the closest in terms of granulation texture and undertone. The Schmincke one using the Daniel Smith one would be my next choice. And that again might just be mixing error. But if you're trying to get that more neutral pink, like what you see in the Tundra Pink from Schmincke, then using a more brown-based Potter's Pink is a better option, which is funny because it's opposite of what conclusion I came up with on the Galaxy Violet one. So now let's look at the Potter's Pink substitutions. This is where I use quinacridone rose, burnt umber or Geothite, and ultramarine blue to recreate Tundra Pink. And I really struggled with this because I could find a similar mass tone where I didn't have lots of water and I was keeping it super saturated, and it could look similar even on swatches that are not shown here. But as soon as I started adding the water to it, that quinacridone rose just flared to life because what would happen is the browns and the blues would granulate out and that pink would just stay evenly dispersed and surface level, and it just made it the prominent figure in the mix. I will say the burnt umber was the closest, but it just has a lot more of a pink undertone than the Schmincke mix. So just something to keep in mind. And if you are trying to buy colors to help with granulating mixes, Potter's Pink is one that I would really recommend because it's hard to find a substitution for. So that is it for today. I hope it helps you better understand Tundra Pink, if it's a good fit for you or not, or if it's a color that you can recreate at home. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down below. And if you want to see more of what I create here on this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.